Hello and welcome to Learn Sax Online. My name is Willow Nielsen and today we're going to look at some fundamental aspects of tone. Let's start with the embouchure. One of the biggest mistakes I see a learner saxophone make when it comes to embouchure is this. Before putting their mouth on the saxophone, they'll go and then put it on. And it's already straight away putting their mouth in the wrong position. What I suggest is you take your bottom lip and place it on the reed and then as you push the mouthpiece into your mouth, let that push a little bit of the lip over your bottom teeth. So you see I'm touching my lip to the reed. So I just thought I would give a little basic tip for that. For more detailed information, I have some books to suggest that talks about the embouchure. The main points being keeping the corners of your mouth flat. Some people pull their mouth down. It depends how you want to approach it. The books that I suggest, the Joe Allard book and the Ben Britton book, go into more detail. It's just a small amount of lip, but I just thought I'd touch on the subject. So the main qualities to look out for in long note practice is the steadiness of the pitch, the steadiness of the dynamics, and the steadiness of the tonal quality. So by the steadiness of the pitch, I mean this. This is an example of what not to do. That's when you let your jaw move. A more subtle version of it would be this. And some people, when they're developing the strength in their embouchure, it'll shake as well. So when practicing a long note, we're trying to keep all of this muscular and our breathing support all really steady. So the other one I notice is a habit is the unsteadiness in dynamics, and that's when the breath support isn't constant. So it may sound like this. So we want to have a constant amount of breath support. So a good way to practice this is sometimes without the saxophone. It is what they call the snakes practice, which is just going for as long as you can, just to get into the practice of keeping a steady stream of air going outwards. The next one is the steadiness of tone quality. So that means keeping the cavity of your mouth and your throat steady while you do a long note. So sometimes as you're practicing the long note, you might be looking for the ideal shape that gets the best resonance from the sound. That's okay, but if it becomes a habit that you're always searching that, then your tone quality will change. So it's okay to practice it and search it out, but once you feel you've found it, then try to repeat it until that becomes, your most constant pattern. So it may sound like this. That's having different sort of weight and movement of the mouth cavity. So a long note needs to be having attention on steadiness of pitch, steadiness of dynamics, and steadiness of tone quality. One good practice for long notes is to have the metronome on 60 beats per minute, which is the same as the second hands on the clock. This way, as you play your long note, you can measure how many seconds you are holding the note for. So maybe on the first day, you do it for 8 seconds, every note for 8 seconds. And then on the next day, you want to try and beat this, try to do it for 9 or 10 or so forth. And I recommend recording it in a little diary. And this will mean that you'll have some feedback on how you're progressing. So as you saw when I did that very silly thing, you see as I play a lower note, my throat opens a little more, and as I play a higher note, you see my throat rise a little bit. That's because the saxophone is one of the closest instruments to the human voice. And one of the best ways for us to develop a good tone is by singing the notes that we play. So, la. I'm not a very good singer, but it does help me find the right throat shape for the note that I'm going to play. It also helps you develop an ear connection with your instrument. So for the next exercise, it's about helping you to get into the low register of your saxophone. I notice this is difficult for a lot of students, and it's really the thing that tells whether they're keeping a tense throat or not. So sometimes these registers, depending on the age, can be out of range for you with your singing. So when you play, it's good to just start trying to focus on relaxing your throat. And this exercise really helps because it starts from a higher note and works slowly down to the lower notes. So you can practice really opening your throat. So one of the ways you can know if your throat is a little too tense is if the lower note is thinner or paler than the upper note. So if I was going from E to D, for instance, or let's choose F to E actually, going from F to E and it sounded like this, then I would know that my throat isn't opening and being steady because it's wavering and it's not giving it that depth of sound. In the next videos, we'll be getting deeper into the concept of tone.